So my name is, as said, Erkki Köiv, and my job is today to discuss you about mobility, what it will actually bring in the future, and if we can, put on the slides, and so I titled it as 5G, and everybody talks nowadays about 5G, everything about the future, and so let's explore a little bit what it is, when it is coming, and why it is coming. Okay, I found the... So just to begin with a little history, I know that you are not, everybody is not here working with the technology, so I will just tell a little bit why is it called even 5G and all these Gs and what it is about. So when we go back to, if you look at that, you see that about every decade, you see a new G coming. So when we go back to 1980, then we called it 1G, or it was called NMT, and it came to Estonia as well in the beginning of 90s because of our situation. But this was purely a big box, what you carried around, and you could make a phone call, worked pretty much everywhere, of course, but mainly it was better to be outdoors. Then, also in 1990s, in the middle, became the second generation of the phones. But most of people, I think most of you know, it's called the GSM. So it was already the nice and small phone. You could put it in a pocket, not needed to carry around with a case anymore. And this was, you already saw then messaging coming. You could send these text messages. So this is quite revolutionary at the time. And also very small data speeds were coming with this generation as well. Now in 2000, that was bringing 3G, which started in 2003, I believe, in Estonia as well. And that was quite revolutionary. You could see each other. You could actually exchange the video calls, and the data speeds were becoming this way that you could already browse the internet, and you could have the phones which were colorful, and you could download some music. In the beginning, not so well, not video really, but already starting up. And then about 2010, later a little bit, 11, then we entered this 4G era. And this 4G is actually bringing now rich set of different services. You could have videos, you could watch YouTube, Facebook videos, you could post pictures wherever what you'd want to do. So that is something what we are experiencing and where we are actually today. And this is truly becoming, the mobile world is becoming really global. And you see that these services are provided to the billions of people. And this day rate is being increasing from the 10 kilobits per second, which was in this second generation, to almost 1 gigabit. Or today we see the speeds already half a gigabit in the live networks in the world. So the speed has been really increasing, and now what's next then, and why we need even something more? So just to explore here a few of the possibilities, the new opportunities, and what all we can do with technology, mobile technology, and any technology basically. So starting from the left side here, this is basically, you can take your media, you can take your virtual world everywhere you go. It works on the countryside, it works in your home, when you go to vacation on the beach. Basically, you can be everywhere and watch the videos, listen to the music, nowadays, you know, it's more or less people don't want to buy anymore the music or the CDs. They prefer to stream it, use different streaming providers. And the same with videos, you watch YouTube videos, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, as there is a growing number of those people, we need the networks which are capable of carrying all this. So that's why we need to even expand these services what we have today, and why we talk about the 5G. I will a little bit come back a little bit later than what it means more on some numbers as well. Gaming is actually also one of the increasing market, and personalized media, meaning what is basically what you share with your community, your friends. Again, all this is demanding a lot. Now, this number of people in the world is still limited, and it's not growing somewhere out of the hands, or I mean, it's growing, but a little bit. So the number of customers is there, and I mean, nobody wants to carry around 10 devices, so still, we as people and the consumers will be limited, and I will say that this 7 billion is somewhere roughly on the edge. It's not growing that much, but this is when we use it as a person, as a human, but there are many, many places where we don't even think about which benefit from the mobility. Whether it be parking when you come here, leave the car somewhere, or energy meters, or different kind of connections, your home automation, roads, cars, everything what is called machine-type communication, which is basically that there is not a human even in between, but it's machines talking to each other. And of course, not machines, they don't text message and say that, hey, send me something, or they have different means, but as there is a huge number of those, so that needs different types of networks, and that's why we need a 5G. And basically, you can just, the sky is a limit where you can actually ever put the connectivity today. Now, the next is here, remote-controlled machines. And those are that's what you can't really do today, because this is demanding enormous bandwidth. You could imagine maybe you have seen these kind of people with glasses on, this virtual reality. So that's basically that we can sit here and move some excavator or some heavy machinery on the other side of the globe. Or it could be that there is a hazardous situation where we don't want to be present as any human, or we need some special knowledge how to do it. So all this remote work, and it doesn't just, this is an example of being here, this heavy machinery, but we can imagine this also as doctors working, doing operations and assisting, and I mean, we could use it and do it not just where we are located, but we could be virtually present doing the work and doing the job somewhere else, quite far away, everywhere around the globe, basically. And that is demanding the high speeds what this new generation is bringing to us. And then, of course, I already touched a little bit about these smart transport and cars. We all talk about the cars which are moving on their own, and here we demand as well the feature of the new networks, that the delay between this information needs to be very small. Otherwise, the other car is going to hit the other ones or the road, or that is giving a demand as well. And not even talking about human to machine, and when we use all kind of learning processes and so on. So just to give you an overview wherever we can put the connection in the cars, in the home robots, we can put it to assist the health industry, all those parts. So the pace of this change has been actually, as you see here, quite accelerating. Here, when we started basically with this communication part, and when we had 1 billion connections in places, which was not so long time ago, it's been now going very exponentially. So we see that this demand and of course, as I said before, the number of people is not really growing that much if you look on this current decade from 2010 to 2020, but especially these things are the ones what are growing. What it is called nowadays, it's Internet of Things. So it's not anymore connecting, and some of you might have even many connections, mobile connections in your home, in your car, in other devices in your pocket, wherever. And when we come now to the 5G and what we really want to, what is this 5G bringing to us, and what's been set by the community as a target for that, is to bring you huge, much bigger data volumes. So that what you can consume today will be maybe 1,000 times bigger. And also that the number of devices that can be connected will increase 100 times. And then this latency, which is meaning basically that how long it takes for the information to travel from one device to the server or the other device, this needs to go down in order to enable the different types of services for cars, for example. And also when you want to do some remote controlling, you don't want that it's lagging behind, that when you move some lever, then the machine is acting 5 seconds later. It can cause accidents. It's totally unreliable in this case. And we see also that these end-user data rates, they will grow. And of course, one thing which is always a difficult topic, it's not been growing or it's not been developed that well maybe than the other mobile technologies, the battery life, or how that you don't want that you have a device in your hand, what you will use with these nice high speeds, what you can do everything, and it will be dead after 1 hour. That would never nobody want, but you want that it will last, and especially those small devices, what you put everywhere, you expect that this battery will last for long time, for a year. You don't want that this is dead and nobody's going to charge it. So these are the kind of demands that the mobile community has been setting for expectations and where we are working today already in labs, and we are moving gradually from this 4G to 5G. It's not going to be totally new experience. We try to do it as smooth as possible, and we talk about this 4G evolution that will actually bring more and more these kind of new era services to the market. So basically, this is the connected world, what the 5G is meaning, and what you can start imagining if you can think that something could be connected. So this is very soon the reality where we can do those things. And once more to summarize it, that we will have very high data speeds, in some scenarios more than 10 gigabits per second. Today we talk about hundreds megabits per second, so it's much bigger. And then, of course, connection everywhere. and of course as well this latency part, which means that, that we will need to have a very short delay between connections. And it's since the beginning of the mobile era, there has been different standards developed, and now the community is going to agree that we need to have just one standard, that we need to have global community, that we can move around, our cars can move around, and we don't want that then when you enter the next country, then, oh, your device doesn't work, or you need some other device. And I remember back 10 years more back when I went to Japan, none of the phones what I had with me were working there because it was a totally different standards. It's improving nowadays, and then with 5G, it's meant to be totally global community there. And the key word is flexible, agile, to really be able to provide the tools for different people who want to develop applications, different types, different implementation ways, how to enable to do business, to help people to make life easier. And it needs to be pretty robust, and it needs to be scalable this way that we can cater those heavy loads and be, of course, super reliable as well, and standardized. So when you have seen already this 2020, when these things are supposed to be happening, there are different phases, and it's always interesting I mean, there is always some milestones that help to start those things. So you see very top, there are 2 Olympic Games in 2018 Korea and 2020 in Japan. So these are the goals for some operators, some vendors, to develop things, introduce these new things to the world. So we will expect to see around the things in 2018, and of course more in 2020 and then beyond, when we reach these goals, what I have shown so far. Now, since I think you have a lot to do with how to plan things in the cities, and I was thinking to show a little bit around what it means for the building the base stations and what the future demands on building some networks and why it is different than today. And I will show first a small video clip, and let's see then.
Phones, smartphones, smart devices, and small devices, pictures, videos, applications, and more applications. These new services and devices we use require high speeds and reliable network performance. So it's no wonder that data traffic is going through the roof, both in total numbers and per subscription. All of this places new demands on the networks. Yes, they have very high throughput rates, up to tens of megabits per second. But radio signals weaken over distance, and every app has its own requirements on network performance. Meaning, coverage might be sufficient for texting or voice, but not for streaming music or video in your specific location. Apart from being weakened by distance, radio signals are also subject to interference, shielded by obstacles. And on top of that, the performance is affected by the number of users sharing the network resources, resulting in actual speeds at a fraction of the peak rates. It's time to rethink coverage and capacity. New application requirements mean that operators must focus on the user experience for all kinds of apps throughout the entire network. From office buildings, shopping malls, train stations, and sports arenas, all the way out into the countryside. And the networks should be improved, densified, and complemented with small cells and in-building solutions to maximize performance from the radio base station to the cell border, enabling sufficient app coverage throughout the network. This is not just for here and now. Devices and applications will continue to push network requirements, meaning that what works today will not necessarily be sufficient tomorrow. But one thing's sure, network performance should be continuously measured to maximize app coverage.
So yeah, the key word here was the app coverage, what it was said here. Just to walk quickly through it. So this is just, I will have a picture of from network planning tool, and this is showing different applications. So what we call what different uses, how we use the mobile. So this is the mobile voice call, and basically it shows that it's covered everywhere, almost everywhere, and so you can use it in the city everywhere. Now we will just want to use in the same network the music, listen to music, streaming music. And now we see that this same network is not that good. It doesn't actually provide everywhere that service. Even that you have a mobile signal, you can call, send messages, but you can't actually listen to music or not listen it in a way what you want without having small stops between. Now we will take the next application. That's the video streaming, HD video streaming with a very nice quality. And the same network is actually having rather hotspots where you can actually watch it. So this is all putting the demand on different types of networks in the future. And so this is showing that the bigger the speed, and also when the new generations come up, we need smaller areas or more base stations, and we need to put it much closer to the user. And the other factor is that if you look yourself where you are using your mobile phone or where you consume media, you don't do it much on the park bench or just walking on the street. You rather do it sitting at home, sitting at office, going in the shopping mall, going in different places indoor. And so we see today that more than 70% of all the mobile usage, all the consumption is done indoors. And on the other hand, the satisfaction is not so good. So that is putting the demand on building networks as well into inside, not to beam it from some faraway place, as it was done in the earlier generations, the 5G and all the 4G high speeds demand that we need to put the network very close to the user, which puts, of course, a lot of demands. It's not that easy always to do it. And the other part is the modern buildings. Everybody wants to save energy, live in a super economical home. We talk about the passive houses where you don't waste energy, and that's all good. I mean, but what happens is that those modern materials, they are actually blocking the radio signals, and they block it very effectively. I just came from Sweden yesterday, and we have few cases there where they have constructed their homes in Stockholm, and they got it. Everybody was nice. They sold it. The tenants went in, and they started to complain that there is actually no mobile coverage on those houses. They don't want to live in these kind of places. And now we are building those indoor networks even into this apartment complex, because there is otherwise no coverage. It's so well shielded from the outside world. There are very effective windows materials used, all different kind of materials used. And now when using those things, we need to find the ways or think about how we will bring the connectivity to the people. And this is, of course, when we do it, when we bring this connectivity to build indoor networks, this will actually increase, of course, user satisfaction. And so I think it's one of the new trends that we will see. We see, of course, nowadays, when you look in the malls or some large office complexes, you see a lot of these kind of small cells or indoor networks, because otherwise you can't really get the signal to the huge number of people located in the very dense areas. But we see this more and more happening, and doing it even in our homes, and the distance from the base station or from antenna to the user is getting increasingly small. I will just show. It's one of the new inventions from Ericsson. It's our radio dot system, and this radio dot is it's a quite small one. I could take it into my hand, basically. It's like a smoke detector, what you see in different buildings. And this is functioning as a base station or antenna. And it's very easy to deploy those. You can put it basically everywhere. It's decent looking device, this kind of white one. And you can put it in some ceiling or somewhere it's unnoticed, basically. And it provides actually a lot of capacity. It provides high-speed data, everything what are the demands from those 5G mobile networks. Just to show that how different ways of what you could install nowadays, those kind of devices, and how they look like. Definitely, they will, of course, be able to, in the future, to design it in a different way. You can make it looking some design elements, maybe even. So that could be one interesting thought that, who knows, why not to even have this as a special, nice-looking small devices on the ceiling or made by somebody. And then a little bit the bigger device, which is also catering for the needs of some office or maybe a larger home even, and brings just to put the box on the wall or connect it to you with your internet provider, and you get this connectivity very simple and easy way, and it provides you already today hundreds and megabits a second, and in the future even more. But it's impossible, of course, with those kind of devices to bring the high-speed data into your existence. And it can be also when you look on the square or public area, that we could put the antennas on the light poles. We could put it just almost everywhere, and of course on the walls. It can be some kind of design element somewhere in the middle of the square or in the middle of shopping mall where you can install all those things. But we will see those functional devices needed more and more when we go to this next era and where we are actually on the move already today. And yes, when coming to summarize what has been said so far, so the question was asked why we need the 5G, and this is needed to enable mobility, enable that we can do everything we are used to, and of course, when we think back 10 years, I mean, nobody even imagined what we could do with our mobile devices today, and how we want to use them more, and what we get used to. The new generation coming up, they don't even think in a way that for them it's natural that you take the phone and watch the TV from the pocket everywhere, whatever. And of course, all these systems, they will be available not very long distance from today. We talk about 5 years from now. So everything what you have seen, and you will see these things coming into the existence in few years from now. And yes, that was a short overview and what is waiting us from the mobile world. Thank you.